This is the Fantasy Football Dudes Podcast.
What is up, my dudes? This is Trent with the Fantasy Football Dudes Podcast. It is officially week one. Is that what we could say? Is that correct?
It's week one, baby. Let's go.
It's week one, and Phil is not here.
Phil is not here. No dedication. We're not going to say what he's doing or why he's not here.
He's on vacation.
Yeah, I guess that's the right word. That's the right word. I don't think
He's on vacation from everything.
From
life.
Yeah, hasn't answered the group text. Maybe he's done. Maybe he's taking a permanent
Maybe he
vacation
quit.
on the pod.
Permanent vacation.
So it's Trent, Jordan, and
We actually
Seth.
paid him to take a. I'm just kidding.
Views go up when he's not here. So on
Paid leave.
YouTube, you can go
Severance
check us out at TFF Dudes. Give us a like, give us a sub. Football's back. Week one here. We will be coming to you twice a week. We will have drafts. I think we're gonna do drafts every other week during the season. I figure out the right day to have those come out. We are gonna do a live stream on Thursday during the football game. We'll be starting at kickoff. So that will be, Phil hopefully will be back for that. I'm not sure. So we'll see you guys Thursday morning. Then we'll see you on the live stream Thursday night. But you guys have a good weekend. Seth, you've been Jordan, you had a nice little weekend. College football's back. You had some nice plays, right?
Jordan won us some money, and everyone else who tailed it.
Yeah, we did put one of those on the old Graham, right, Trent?
Yeah.
Yeah, good little 3-pick on sleeper here yesterday. Yeah, it was good weekend. First weekend of college football, like actual week one. So it was fun. Watched a lot of football yesterday. Watched some UFC, and we're good to go.
Week one of college football is kind of a downer, almost.
I don't know. For me, yes, the games aren't great, but there was some decent games. There were some good games.
I really like the Fresno State.
Fresno
Purdue
State game was awesome.
Game.
The TCU Colorado game was awesome.
TCU Colorado game
I
might
felt
have
like-
been the game of the weekend.
Yeah, I feel like after that, though, there wasn't a ton. Now, there's a good one tonight. We're recording Sunday night. There's is it Florida State and LSU?
Florida State,
That'll
LSU.
be a good one.
Oh, I feel like there was one game in the afternoon window that wasn't horrible. What was I watching? I was watching the Texas game was kind of a blowout. There was one game that I watched in the afternoon window that I can't.
It's a little bit of a tease, it gives you what you want, but it's not completely everything you want with college football. There's a lot of those slates for all the games and stuff.
Oh, the Washington game was good for a little bit, and Washington put it on them at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different for me, though. I have so much action usually on a Saturday, so if the action I have is going good, then it's usually entertaining. It's more entertaining because I'm just watching what I have,
Yeah, and we did that on Sleeper. So if you're not on Sleeper yet, they have college football in-game plays. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. Enter Dudes 100. They will match you up to $100, guys. It really helps us out and help you out. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at TFF Dudes. We'll be sharing some plays on there for football. So go ahead and check that out. Today's episode, actually, Jordan, we're going to be doing our season-long underdog plays. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So underdog, another sponsor for us. But so our Vikings won Friday night at the football game, gave a little beat down, to their rivals, Dinuba. That was fun. We all sat together there. And Fresno State won, and now we got NFL kicking off in Phil's Lions versus Jordan's Chiefs Thursday night. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Don't
One
say
of
they're
them
my
will,
Chiefs.
One of them will be crying.
Trent, the Jaguars are good now. We can't call them my Chiefs anymore.
Jordan's going to totally flip on his fandom with the Jags, I feel like, this year. Now it's hey,
He's a
Jags are good.
He's like, man, I love the Jags. He's gonna say something heinous
Stop.
about Patrick Mahomes.
Here's the
and we're gonna
problem,
be like,
guys.
Whoa.
When the Jaguars are bad, my Mahomes support got me through. It made the NFL season fun. Now the
understand.
Jaguars
I
are
understand.
good.
I get it.
We're rivals now. We got to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I understand.
I wonder what Trent's been doing with the Cowboys forever, man. It's
That's how I was when I was 12, and then it just kind of stuck with me. I was what? I have these guys I like and all this stuff, and that's why I have 19 favorite college football teams.
It turned out with fantasy Mahomes, and it's just I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
when guys win you money or win you fantasy football leagues, you end up just being a fan of.
And here's the thing: I love the Dallas Cowboys, but what have they ever done for me? You know what I'm saying? Mahomes.
Your fantasy
has done,
football players has won you
Mahomes
stuff.
has done stuff for you, Jordan.
Yeah,
so I understand
yeah.
why you're such a big fan of the Chiefs. So I don't know, but
I don't know what the Jets and Lions did for Phil.
I don't know what they did, but we have a lot of Lions listeners, so I'm hoping the Lions are good. I actually care about my listeners. I want them to be happy. I want them to have
true.
success. So.
If they're happy, we're happy.
Exactly. And what makes us happy is when you share this pod with a friend. Remember, don't be rude, share the dudes. So, Jordan, we've been going for about 4 minutes. It feels like there's 4 more minutes of wasted, space we normally have right here. But,
we can just move along.
Our host is not here.
We won't get 5 minutes of nonsense.
And won't get 5 minutes of nonsense.
Him talking about how like the gas station didn't have this,
Or him
and-
being a rancher.
There's a lot of stuff. So I guess we can jump right into it. I don't want to make the pod too quick. I'd like to get it at that 45 minutes to an hour mark, but we will be coming back to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, we can just say the next 3.5 months, the first pod of the week, it released on Mondays, right, Trent?
Yeah.
That Sunday night recap one that we record on Sunday nights, Monday night release, will generally be shorter.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the big preview pod on
Wednesday.
come out Thursdays. We record on Wednesdays, and so that's the big.
I'd like to do an underdog draft for each week between us four, too. I think that
Yeah,
might be a cool
that'd
way to
be
close
fun.
the pods out. So
So
it's a
we're
good
gonna
idea.
try to get through, and we'll try to keep those Thursday pods. Like I think we just need to do a good job of getting through the games quickly, and but yeah,
Phil
no,
shouldn't
good.
be doing too much during the week that he has to recap.
Yes,
You know
that
what
will
I'm
be
saying?
good.
So-
that will be
So
good.
We got the Northwestern game on right now, and who are they playing? Rutgers.
Rutgers. We're gonna switch
So,
this thing
yeah,
over to Oregon
yeah.
State here quickly.
Jordan, so YouTube TV, it has the multi-view cam, so you actually could put them both on for people who only have one TV in their house.
Yeah, can we talk about that real quick, Trent?
That's kind of a
Trent,
diva of the week. I
You
feel
called
like.
me a diva. I don't get it.
Jordan, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that like their friends move to different states, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
What does that have to wait,
But so what I'm saying is like if your friend moves to a different state and you're like, hey, you want to come watch, you know, the Seahawks game, but they live in a different state, they can't watch. Jordan has his friends, you know, within 5 minutes of his house.
Oh.
And he doesn't come watch because there's only one TV in the living room.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's Saturdays are for the dudes, Seth.
It's true.
So he's watching at his house with 4 TVs on rather than coming watching one here. Here, Jordan, let me show you a little trick here, you know. But
In fairness, Trent, you text us at the game started at 9. You text us
Yeah.
at 8:55.
Yeah.
Do you want to come over? I'm sitting on the couch, haven't even showered yet, and you want me to come over to your house when I can watch 2 games and the fights all at once in my own living room.
okay, fine.
It's true. I mean, I
But the
don't-
multi-view is nice. And your TV's big enough to where it does get the trick.
It might only be available on Saturdays because I'm not seeing it right now. But I did have it yesterday, the YouTube multi-view.
Oh yeah, I just had it.
Oh, you just had it? Oh,
Yeah.
because it's back here, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I'm learning how to use my television right now. We're talking about that.
But the
what
game
do
hasn't started yet, and that game's
you,
over.
So that's why it's not working.
That's why it's
okay.
not.
There it is right there. Boom goes the dynamite. So we got 2 TVs on here. But
No. But no, that there was less. You need to give more context to that.
If Phil wouldn't have been in a different state, I know 100% he would have been here. He probably would have
He
brought
also
donuts.
lives
He probably
like-
would have brought wings. Like
He
he's
also
such a-
could have walked over in his pajamas from his house to here.
It's usually what he does for the pod, so I'm sure that's what
Yeah.
he does on a Saturday morning. But yeah, so that's my diva of the week. You guys can do your divas later. My diva of the week is guys that, you know, just can't leave their own house to hang out with, you know, some buddies. I figured you were on a road trip, Seth. You were road dogging yesterday. You
No,
went to the Dodgers
I
Brave
hadn't.
game.
I hadn't left yet, but I was watching my child.
Could have brought your child.
My wife and my oldest daughter went to a birthday party, and so I just kept my daughter, and she was sleeping, so I was not gonna leave.
Well, a cool text back would have been nice also, Seth. Like, hey, not gonna
I'm
make
pretty
it.
sure I said I'm not coming.
I think he emphasized my text.
Yeah, I had my computer open and I was watching it on my TV. So the Fresno State game and Colorado game, man, those were fun to
Yeah,
watch.
for everybody listening, you know, this is coming out on Labor Day, so happy Labor Day. You know, maybe a lot of you don't have work when this comes out. You can still listen though. What's your guys' take on Cooper Kupp right now? Like, can you draft? Like, if there's a lot of drafts that don't happen till Labor Day or Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm drafting tomorrow.
Yeah.
on Labor Day.
So where should Cooper Kupp go? Like, how many weeks is he gonna miss?
So it's just hard because there's just so much unknown. There's zero clarity, which makes it difficult right now. I had a buddy text me.
They aren't gonna rush him back.
Yeah, like, do I trade Cooper Kupp? And I was like, it was like for like Devonta Smith and Isaiah Pacheco, and I'm just like, here's the issue with trading Cooper Kupp right now. The season hasn't started. You're gonna get nothing compared to the value from where you drafted him. So it just makes it difficult because, like, I don't know. Like, I drafted Cooper Kupp in the first round of one of my main leagues. I'm holding on to him. Like, there's no point and it just, even if he's out, the feeling I get, it's not a long-term injury. Maybe he's out the first month. But if you drafted okay, maybe you can get through that first month and be okay when Cooper Kupp comes back.
Yeah, the IR spot helps. But what is it? Matthew Berry always says, you don't win your league in the first round, you can lose it, though. Like, that could potentially be a pick.
But is 1 month going to lose? Like, it just depends how you drafted
how
your
how the rest of your team is. Like, I drafted Cooper Kupp 8th overall, but I also picked up Van Jefferson as soon as I heard about it. So I'm going to play Van Jefferson, see how it goes. But, I mean, if you're looking at the news, he was in Minnesota today on Saturday, met with a specialist. Sean McVay's describing his day-to-day, but we all know they kind of cherry pick with those comments. But he's saying he's likely going to miss week 1, which could mean more. But, I mean, it's like what Jordan's saying. I think it's hard to tell right now. I don't think you get rid of him, and I think you just kind of ride it out.
They're not even ruling him out for week 1.
That's what I'm saying. He's likely to miss week 1, but
So
we don't know.
You might
about
not
week
even
2.
get an IR spot for the guy.
No,
He
might
will
be,
eventually,
Yeah,
but
Sunday.
if he's out. Yeah, but with questionable, no, you're not going to get.
and it's a 125 game. So, but I think that if he's not going to play, they're going to rule him out Thursday or Friday, is what I would imagine.
Yeah.
But so, like in this league, I have Cup. I have Devonta Smith, Christian Watson, Terry McLaurin, George Pickens as my receivers. Like, I think I'm okay. Like, I don't need to trade Cup there. Like,
You might need to wait. Like, if you take Cup early, you might need to wait on those running backs longer than you normally would.
Now, though, like now going forward, if you're drafting like tomorrow, I think honestly, I think you can actually get value on Cooper Kupp maybe. Like, because
You can get him late.
my guess is he's gonna fall out of the second round.
You think he'll go all the way to the second round?
So I saw someone I think it was on Twitter, someone puts a screenshot of a best ball they had done, and actually it was on Underdog, but they had CMC and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp fell all the way back on the second round far, and that's really good. No matter what happens, I think that's really good value.
Oh, absolutely. Like
second round.
The first round, it's a
Late-
harder pill.
late
it's
first round.
It's a harder
Late
pill to
second round.
swallow in the first round. Anywhere in the
Yes.
second round, I'd be shocked to see him fall more than that.
He's not going to miss. Knock on some wood here, but he's not going to have.
I wish Phil was here to tell you it was drywall, but
I think there's wood somewhere in there. There's wood. I don't think he's gonna miss the whole season, right? Like that's not the vibe I'm getting. The vibe I'm getting is he pulled his hamstring, he pulled it again. They're trying to figure out what the issue is.
yeah, hamstring issues though are just stuff that like you hate it when you get those in the middle of the season because it's just like when do you heal? Because it's just rest. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty simple rest. I don't know.
I think what's the likely scenario is he's gonna miss the first month.
Yeah. And that's what I would be afraid of, where maybe your team's really good and you can get Cooper Kupp for cheap or something. I don't know.
I just think that I think there's ways to make it like if you did a good job drafting, I think there's ways where you can make it work.
Yeah, like I'm not scared to keep Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, neither
Like
am
I think if my draft wasn't as good, I'd get rid of him and maybe try to get some players out of him, like 2 players that I need. But I don't need like what you said the trade earlier, Pacheco or Trent said earlier, Devonta Smith and Pacheco for him. Like I don't need another running back, and I also don't necessarily need a receiver. Like I can survive without him, and when he comes back, like he's gonna be obviously the same old Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
As we know. So
Because they have no depth behind them.
I think ride it out, and if you can get him in the second round, I think that's a steal. Like because we know for the 13 other weeks of the season, like he's gonna put up numbers.
I agree.
So I think at most we're probably talking. I mean, of course, unless he gets injured again or re-aggravates it again, which would just be a disaster. But you don't draft on players, always getting hurt. Maybe there's a history, but you don't always draft on them.
Trent might disagree on that, but
I think you always draft on the potential rather than like I don't know.
I used to for sure, like if guys had injury stuff, I wouldn't draft him. I took CMC in a draft this year because he fell to me at 3. Jordan was there, and CMC just always makes me nervous.
I think
But the value is so good there.
I think I've always preached like you just got to take the best player available. Like you have to,
especially in the first round.
Yeah, you can't worry about it because you can't predict injuries and
because any player, regardless of their history, can get hurt at any game.
Yes. Now I think you can. I sometimes think the value's built in and guys just that are hurt but with these elite players it's just hard because the potential. Now with the guy who the potential's not like the upside's not there, then and if he's a floor guy, then maybe you can account for like him being hurt, right? But like we talk a lot about DeAndre Swift on this pod where we know what the upside is with DeAndre Swift. He's healthy, but then you say he's always hurt. Well, I think that upside outweighs the risk of him being hurt, you know? So I don't know.
So, and speaking of that, like, what do you think, like, Cooper Kupp, we're doing, just long football season-long plays today,
Yes.
underdog. Underdog's our favorite. So I'm wondering if Cooper Kupp's, total receiving yards or touchdowns has dropped at all.
That'd be interesting.
Or it might be interesting. You're like, hey, you don't think he's a play a month, Jordan? Maybe you should do a Cooper Kupp play for under the touchdown limit. But, and speaking of that, Underdog's the dude's favorite place to play best ball. Go to Underdog, enter dudes, and they will match you up to $100. You can draft all season long at Underdog. Every day's draft day. They got plays for the day. They got, just head-to-head. Like, we're going to do a couple snake drafts on here during the season, and we'll see who wins each week. So it's a lot of fun. For as little as $3, you can do a nice little draft. Good place to mock draft. So go to Underdog, tell them the dude sent you. So
I think there's still lots of contests open. I think the Best Ball Mania is still open a little bit. I need to get some more teams in these weekly winners. Like I think looks like 25% on the weekly winners. So still some stuff open. Yeah, I gotta hit the deposit button on Underdog, Trent.
dudes, and they'll match you $100. Here's an interesting.
Cup props are off the board for what it's worth.
Okay, they're off.
They're off the
That
board.
makes sense. So
Yeah.
if you did one, a week ago, you might be upset at yourself.
Yeah, but you can
Just-
how you
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
know?
you can't.
So we're gonna be having some sleeper season long plays in here, and some underdog plays in here. Just kind of what your favorite
Does
ones
Sleeper
are.
have NFL?
Do they have season long?
I don't know.
They
I
might-
didn't
they
think
might not.
they
We'll-
didn't.
okay.
But let me look.
We'll
real
double
quick.
check. Sleeper's been really nice to me lately. Not saying underdog hasn't been nice either.
Sleeper gives man a lot of promos. On Underdog, we got Mahomes free square for week 1.
Yes.
Got to take advantage
I
of
made
that.
a play with that one already.
We
just
should
for the
probably
Thursday
release
game.
some stuff this week. We'll have some
Yeah.
content out.
Mm-hmm. So guys, like here, like this one looks decent, Jordan.
No season long on Sleeper.
Okay, this looks decent for me, Jordan. Derek Carr, 23.5 passing TDs. You think that's too low? You think that's the right number? What are you thinking on this? And you have to pair this with another play. You can't just do one.
And
For
it
those
has
of
to
you-
be. It can't be his teammate either.
No.
You can do his teammate if you have a third guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. But hey, you can't just be two guys on the same team.
So you said 23.5
Passing
pull up.
TDs.
So he had 24 and 23 the past 2 years.
Okay, so that's a really good line. So he threw how many to Devontae last year? 12, 11?
Something like that, yeah.
And he only threw 24 touchdowns?
24.
Okay.
But he had Josh Jacobs there the last 2 years.
And
Let me see if I can pull up his more than that.
Okay, but if you look at even the yards, Trent, while Jordan's looking that up, he threw for 3,400 yards last year, and he also didn't play the last few games.
that's
But
true.
he- but
I
it-
forgot about
his-
that.
In 2021, he threw for 4,800 yards, and his yard total's at 37 right now. So that's an interesting one to think about too.
He has 19, 21, 27, 23, 24 last 5 years. I actually agree with Seth. I think I like the yards
I
total.
think the yards is better because look at his higher seasons in the Raiders. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards in those 3 seasons. And that was less of a Josh Jacobs year. The last 2 years, Josh Jacobs has taken over more. But I mean, even Carr threw for 4,800.
The only counter argument I'd have to that is that the Saints may be better this year than the Raiders were the last few years. So maybe not down as much.
Don't have to throw as much.
They don't have to throw as much.
But I would think I would like maybe the passing yards line more.
I think I kind of lean the passing yard. I would agree. If I had to take one, I think I take the 3,700 and a half passing
Now, what
yards.
about this? They have 300 plus passing yard games for Derek Carr.
Yeah.
3.5. That's kind of a fun one too. So you could say he's only going to throw 4 300-yard games or 3. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of a fun play right there. Though, just looking at those.
Well, I would think if he throws more than 3,700,
He did not. He only threw for 300 yards one time last year.
Okay.
What about that 2021 season? Do you know?
You're making me excited for Chris Olave.
Let me see here. I don't know. It's just Carr doesn't strike me as a guy who goes over 300 yards a lot, but
Yeah.
he might. Let me look at 21. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times.
So, I mean, but that's 48. So the difference between 48 and 37 is 1,100 yards. If we think he's going to throw anywhere close to 48, he's probably going to have at least 4 300 pass yard games. So I think it's kind of where you determine where you think how many passing yards Carr's going to do. Jordan's right, though. 2021, they weren't very good. They were down in a bunch of games.
Just think
Carr
the
was
Saints
slinging the ball. Like, I think it's 3.5 probably is a really good line. If you think he's going to get 4,000, maybe you say 3.5, take the over. I still would lean away from the 300 pass yard games and go towards just the passing yards.
For what it's worth, Trent, just in general, I think the quarterbacks are the most projectable plays.
Yeah.
With these season-long ones. I have a few quarterback plays I like. You have any more quarterback plays you like?
I just honestly
You're scrolling. You're scrolling.
Yeah, like,
I did a little bit of homework here.
yeah, I like the Justin Fields rushing touchdown prop.
So I looked at Fields this morning. I don't know. Let me look again at why I looked at. I wanted to hit some of his passing ones because I think he does grow as a passer. But when I looked this morning, they were just too high. They're too high, and I can't. Like, they're almost projecting too much of an increase, in my opinion.
Okay. Tell me some you like that you've done, some homework on.
What would you say about the rushing, though? You said, what do you like?
His rushing TDs were 6.5.
Yeah, so here's my issue is that he had 2 the year before, 8 last year. I don't know. And he only had, like, how many throwing touchdowns? He only threw for 17. Like, I don't know. I worry that he gets, like, 5 rushing touchdowns. That's what I feel like is going to happen.
What about this? The 2.5 100 rush yard games.
I can't. Oh, that's the one I was looking at.
So the 2.5.
But he only had 3 last year.
Yeah. So and like I said, we all thought he did really good, but also I think those 3 he had a lot more than just 100, right?
So for you to like it, would they have to like shave that down a number?
If they did 2, I'd like it.
So if they shaved it down 2 numbers, you'd like it.
What do you mean 2?
Like if it was 4.5
rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
No, it's at 2. What is
It's
it right?
at 6.5 right now. So if they
He's talking
shaved
about
it down
rushing
1 touchdown.
Oh, yeah. 6. Sorry, I thought you meant the 100-yard game.
Yeah.
Sorry. If they were like at 4.5, yeah, I'd like that a lot at 4.5.
So if they, okay.
But I mean, the reality is these lines are good, right?
Yeah. Speaking of shaving, the modern man's a man who takes care of himself. Manscaping isn't just for life's special occasions. It's a requirement for optimal health, superior hygiene, and healthy self-esteem. You now have the right tools for a safe and precise grooming in hard-to-navigate sensitive areas, plus post-trimming products to help keep your dudes dry. We got some deodorant on the table. They got the boxers. They got all kinds of good stuff. Go over to Manscaped, guys. Enter promo code DUDES20 for 20% off your whole entire order. Tell them that the dudes sent you, guys. They'll treat you right, I promise you, okay? Go to manscaping.com, promo code DUDES20.
Treat yourself right. Get Manscaped.
Yeah, Jordan, was that an okay transition?
I'm really, it was good, and I'm really mad I fell for it.
So yeah,
It was one of your better ones, though.
I fell for it too, but after Trent said the word shaved 3 times, I knew he was kind of like forcing a transition.
That was one of your better ones, though, I will say.
A modern transition, basically. I set it up a little bit better, right?
Don't dig yourself back in the hole, You're ahead.
Sorry. What else do you got here, Jordan?
Okay, so I got couple ones. I got Justin Herbert.
That was a smooth transition.
It was good.
Manscaped smooth.
Oh, gosh.
Dolphin.
I have Herbert over 30.5 passing touchdowns. So if we look at what he did, what he has done, I think we get a bounce back from a bounce back Herbert game, or Herbert year. But last year he had, what did he have? He had 25 last year, and the year before,
he only had 25 last year.
Well, he also was missing his 2 best receivers like the whole year.
and he played hurt most of the year.
Yeah, the injury. Yeah, that was like week 2 versus the Chiefs.
His rookie year, he had 31. His sophomore year, had 38. And then last year, he had 25. I think the line's too low just because I think we get a little bit of a healthier Herbert. We have a little bit more weapons, I think. They added Quentin Johnston. And I think I read somewhere Keenan Allen's like the healthiest he's been in a long time. Mm-hmm. So obviously that could change.
I'm locking that in.
Yeah, I like that one. I think the over 30.5. And then
I have another one. I just want to see if I can guess what you have.
Okay, what do you think I have?
Trevor Lawrence passing TDs at 27.5.
Right player, wrong prop.
Okay.
I'm going to be on the the 41.5 rushing passing yards. And let me tell you why I think, because what is the touchdown number?
It is 27.5, which I feel like is just really low.
It is really low. So his rookie year, he had 12 touchdowns. He had 3,600 yards. Last year, he had 4,100 yards, 25 touchdowns. I feel like they're giving me the same number he just did in his second year, in which, if we're being honest, was really his rookie year because his rookie year was a waste.
Yeah.
Second year in the system, an added weapon. The touchdowns, I just worry about because there is that rushing touchdown threat there, like the rushing touchdowns for him in general, but also with Bigsby and ETN. And I just like the yards. Like, I think it's too low for how good that offense is going to be and a quarterback. Now, the only way he doesn't get it, in my opinion, is if something like Herbert happens where people are hurt, he's playing, knock on wood again.
We just need a knock on wood soundbite that I just
Yes,
slam
that's
on.
We're
what
gonna
we
need
need.
a big slab of wood.
Yeah, and just
Uh,
not your worst idea, Seth.
But yeah, so I like the 4,100 just because I think the touchdown thing, there's a little more variance when it comes to that, right? There is variance, and I think that there's a little bit more of the rushing threat there, but I don't know. He just hasn't done it yet, and he's already hit the 4,100 yard marker.
So if we're on this passing yards marker, 'cause it seems like I want to go back to Herbert because I saw Herbert's line. If I'm looking, Herbert's line is 4,490, so 4,490 in his sophomore and his rookie year. He had 47 his rookie year and 5,000, and last year he barely didn't meet that mark of what they're saying by 100 yards. I think that's an easy over on the 40 or basically 4,500 passing yards on the underdog pick for season long.
Yeah, I think both
Because if they
Herbert
think
props are good.
I think I think that's a lock there. I think the lock may be more on the yards than the touchdowns.
Okay. What do you have though, Jordan? Was that so I kind of guessed it, but not completely right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got my next one?
I don't think I do. Would you say maybe Patrick Mahomes? They don't have a TD prop line for Mahomes. That's kind of interesting.
They just took it out.
Yeah, it just went off the
It
board.
was at 36.5.
Yeah, it's grayed out right now.
Okay. So,
You want to guess? You're right. Right
Patrick
player.
Mahomes, 4,800 yards.
No, I'm gonna go with the 7.5, 300 plus pass yard games.
Okay.
I think Seth and I hit this last year,
Was
and
it 7.5 though?
I think it might have been 6.5.
I think it was 6, and he had 7. I think last year, right?
No, he
Did he
had
have 9?
He had a bunch. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And here's the reality: like he has to get 8, and there's no running game there.
Yeah.
This is how many times he threw. I mean, he was
his
throwing the
running
ball.
backs catch the ball.
42, 41, 42, 42, 35, 35, 68, 34, 40. He only threw the ball less than 35 times twice, and that was 2 of the last 3 weeks. Like, they're throwing the ball there. They're going to throw the ball, and they're spreading it around, and I just think it's an easy over for me. And obviously, like, the variance could come back and it could bite us in the butt. But I just don't see how he doesn't throw for 300. Like, that means he's throwing. He doesn't have to make it half the games. Like, it's less than half the games he has to throw 300 yards. And they just throw so much.
And like playing the Chargers, maybe that's an opportunity where he has to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's twice. And just in that division, maybe the Raiders aren't that good. Like I'm trying to see holes in his schedule, but Super Bowl champs get the toughest schedule, so he should have to be,
Like week
in
1,
and out,
I think he's going to throw 300. I think we're going to get 300 yards off the bat on Thursday and 1 down. Like,
Well, do we want to put together because underdog does 6-man, right? So do we want to put?
I think
together,
5. Is 5 the most or 6?
I thought it was 6.
You might be right.
Do we want to throw together a season-long 6-man?
Yeah, I'll do it with you. Let's do that.
Like
yeah.
we can do all quarterbacks, or we can start looking at the other lines. I know me and Jordan hit the Justin Jefferson line last year. That was a fun one. I mean, if we all think Justin Jefferson is gonna,
Yeah, I actually have a Justin Jefferson.
like
one.
if Justin Jefferson's gonna get 2,000 yards, like I think, I mean, what's his line?
Yeah.
His line's at 1,400. Like,
I don't have much. Right? Are you gonna keep going by position, Trent?
yeah.
Let's do it at the end. Let's
Okay.
pull one together at the end.
Okay.
We'll keep going. I only have one running back, is what I came up with. So,
Okay.
I don't know if you have scrolled the running backs at all.
I'm just looking at James Cook right here. He has 3.5 touchdowns on the season or 675 rushing
What was
yards.
his stats last year?
I'm going to look it up right now. I don't think they were that good, but it's sounding like he
I'm seeing
might
he's gonna
lose. He might lose some work to Harris in the red zone, but I think
I'm seeing that he's gonna get 200 plus carries this year.
I'm excited.
I wish
about
there
Cook.
was
And a lot of
I wish
receiving.
there was a rushing and receiving yards prop on Cook.
I think there's a reason why there's not.
I know.
Total touchdowns.
Last year he was pretty quiet. He had a good game in Week 13 versus New England.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving last year.
So maybe he's just too new, and that's just a little.
It's just tough because there's no it's hard to project his role, and that's the issue. The only running back one I like is, and running backs this year are tough, Trent, because there's so many running backs by committees, and
You going Saquon?
no, Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Okay, I should have known that.
Nick Chubb over 9 touchdowns, and that's rushing touchdowns, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the line is right at 9 right now.
It
so
is at
could
9.
Push.
So it does give you some push equity, which in some ways is nice, right? Like there's some push equity there.
And that doesn't hurt it hurts your multiplier a little bit, but it doesn't.
It just takes it away. So it goes from like a 6 to a 5 or a 5 to a 4.
He had 8 last year. I'm sorry, 12.
He had 12 last year, 9 the year before. So his rookie year he had 5. Second year he had 13.
Are you talking Nick Chubb?
Yeah, Nick Chubb.
Huh.
His rookie year he had.
Are you looking at total touchdowns? Because I'm seeing 8, 8, 12, 8, 12.
Where am I at here? Oh yeah. Sorry. I was looking at I don't know what I was looking at there. That was weird. Yeah, 8 his rookie year, 8 the following year, 12 the third year, 8, 12. Like he's right there. And here's the thing, I think the last 3 years Kareem Hunt's been there.
Yeah.
We talked about this. There's nobody behind Nick Chubb, and I'm not a Deshaun Watson believer. I think maybe he can move them in between, move the ball down the field. I think he gets 10 touchdowns. Like if he stays healthy, he played 17 games. It was only his second year playing every game last year. Like if he can stay healthy, play every game, I don't see how he doesn't get 10 touchdowns.
What about the rushing yards? It's 1225. And last year he had 1525. The year before 1260.
So I guess I like it. I think
the touchdowns is better.
I think the touchdowns is better. I just like the touchdowns better because and he has that equity where he can just like break off 50-yard runs. I don't know. I like his touchdowns. What do you think on that one, Trent?
I don't dislike it. Nick Chubb's kind of a guy that I don't ever want to be going on the under. Just when you watch, my only complaint is there was a game 2 years ago when they played Green Bay on Christmas, and it was just like the Packers could not stop Nick Chubb, and I don't know why they quit giving him the ball.
Because they had other guys there. They had Kareem Hunt.
I know. I just was.
And
they
were
throwing.
Are you talking about when they had Jacoby Brissett there too?
No, it was Baker.
It was
But I
Baker.
just couldn't figure out why they sometimes it's and
Yeah,
maybe
but also
he's
they
tired
have.
or
I'm
whatever.
sure.
I don't know.
I just think he's gonna get all the work he can handle this year.
No, I don't hate that. There's some fun kicker props in here, Jordan.
I
Did
know.
you look at them? They're tempting.
The Tucker. I'll tell you which one I was tempted to, but I can't bring myself to be like, yes, let's put money on a kicker prop. You know?
Yeah.
The Tucker 50-yard one is pretty good. I think.
Has to have over 5.5 50-yard field goals made or 40.5 extra points made.
The extra point one is you're really betting on Lamar Jackson.
What about
you
Harrison?
like Lamar Jackson this year, so you might want to hit that.
Well, what about Harrison Butker, 49.5 extra points with the Chiefs? You wouldn't want to pay
I
that
to
up?
look. I need to look into that and you have
see
to look
what they got last year,
and see what they
how many touchdowns they had.
Yeah,
it's got to be close to that.
How much touchdowns did Mahomes throw?
like, let's just say Mahomes throws 35 this year. That's 35 right there.
So Tucker only had 32 extra points last year.
Okay, yeah.
32 extra point attempts. Tucker's 50-yard one I thought was just interesting because he had...
What was the line, Trent, for
Justin
Butker?
Tucker?
Bucker.
Oh, Butker was...
How many extra points?
Oh, man. 49 and a half.
Okay, well, Patrick Mahomes had 41, and then he ran in 4.
Okay.
So that's 45 just from Patrick Mahomes. That's 45 attempts just from Patrick Mahomes. But also, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to count for 40 touchdowns on that team this year, probably.
They got to score, but they got to score. Yeah.
And field goals don't count. It has to be an extra point. So, like, special teams touchdowns, rushing touchdowns.
Defensive touchdowns.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see how many rushing touchdowns.
I'll just be honest. If I'm going to bet on a kicker, I kind of want it to be Justin Tucker.
Yeah, I agree with it.
And so the Tucker one, what's the 50-yard?
5.5 for a 50-yard made field goal.
So he had 14 last year, 6-5. That's the last 3 years. Here's the problem, though. You know why it was so high last year?
Because Lamar was hurt.
They couldn't move the ball past the...
Yeah.
And that's the issue with the Chiefs' 50-yard. That's the hard part is if you told me that Tucker was on a team with a bad quarterback, I kind of would like that prop more. But if you think they're going to be better this year, I mean, shoot, they were playing with so many different quarterbacks last year that I think he was just hitting bombs because they get the ball to the 40 and have him kick.
Here's a 40-yard or 50-yarder one for you. What about Young Ho Koo?
What's his thing?
50-plus field goals made at 5.5. He's probably
it's the same prop as Tucker.
It's the same prop, but you know it's a worse quarterback.
How do you spell this guy's name?
Yeah, the last name is Koo.
Youngway.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's Youngway, not Young Ho. Youngway.
Yeah, I will struggle with that forever.
He had 11 last year, 5 and 8. I don't hate that one. No, he only made 7 though. Sorry, he only made. Yeah, he made 7 last year.
Okay. Yeah, I see those ones and they always kind of interest me.
So Tucker only made 9 last year. Sorry.
What about receiver plays, Jordan? What else?
Yeah, I got 3 of them. So the Jefferson one, I got a 6.5 100+ receiving yard game. I think this is another one of those ones where it's like, I just don't see how he doesn't get it. I'll pull up his game log from last year, but it just, this seems like a lock to me. I think he had like 10 or something like that last year. I'm trying to pull it up right here if anyone can get it faster.
Jefferson, you're looking for his touchdowns?
No, his 6.5. I want to hit the 6.5 100+ yard games.
Okay, so week 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He had 10 100+ yard games last year.
Yeah. And I don't see how he barely did anything the last couple weeks last year. Why did he only have 38 receiving, 1 catch and 4 catches?
He finished the season really weak last year, and I think that's a big reason why guys don't really want him with those top 2 picks. Because if you had Jefferson last year, there's a good chance you made it to the finals, but you probably didn't win because
he didn't.
Week 17, he had 1 catch for 15 yards.
Well, didn't the Vikings kind of implode?
But he got you to the championship because week 14, he had 223.
I know, but when I'm saying those, didn't the Vikings implode those last few weeks?
Yeah, they did not play good. So, yeah, his last 2 weeks were absolutely terrible.
Like, I don't even know if you could say it was Justin Jefferson. Like I mean, obviously, you're drafting the player.
But look at him.
team.
Look at his playoff schedule last year. He had 27 points in week 14, 24 in week 15, 25 in week 16, and then 2 in week 17.
Yeah. No. I really like his. I think this is the 7. I think is an easy lock. Like I don't see how he doesn't have 7 100-yard games. Mm-hmm. They're gonna throw the ball again, just like they did last year.
More arguably because they have Addison too.
More, and they don't have Dalvin Cook. So I think Madison is a better pass game, a little bit better in the pass game. Maybe, I don't know. It's maybe they're a wash, but I feel like sometimes they feel like they had to use Dalvin. I don't think they'll feel like they have to use Madison this year. And Jefferson's just so good. Like he's elite. Like he's an elite. He's gonna go down as one of the best receivers to ever play a game of football. Yeah. I'm willing to bet the 7. Like if it was Jerry Rice, would we take the 7?
Yeah.
Maybe not back then, but now. If it was Jerry Rice now, we'd be like, the Vikings are going to throw the crap out of the ball.
Yeah, literally. No,
I don't know what that means by literally.
No, I think that's a really good. Honestly, Jordan, you said you really like the quarterback plays. I almost might like the wide receiver plays more the more I look at this.
You have any more you looked at? I have two more. Two more.
Okay,
and I'm done,
yeah.
but
I'll tell you the other one I have, and I don't know if Seth has one.
I mean, I might have one, but I don't. Maybe it's just because I'm a truther.
Here,
we won't judge you. We
I'll
won't
give
judge
you a little more time, Seth. Here, I got one more.
Yeah, go
two
ahead.
more actually. I got George Pickens, his over 4.5 receiving touchdowns. Now, this is one where we don't really have. There's no real data to back this up, right? Like
This is just a gut feeling.
it's a gut feel. I almost wanted to like. It's almost like a Kenny Pickett backing two with this one.
Yeah.
Because like I kind of wanted to hit a Kenny Pickett one, but I didn't like the numbers. So I'm gonna go. He had 4 touchdowns last year. He had 4 receiving touchdowns last year, 801 yards. I think we have an improved Kenny Pickett, and I think we have an improved, and with that comes a bigger role for George Pickens. I think he surpasses Deontay Johnson as the number 1 wide receiver there. He had 4 last year. I think we see a jump. We normally do for receivers in their second year. This guy's really good. He's a go up and get it player. I think he gets 5 touchdowns. I'm willing to gamble and bet that he improves. This is probably one of my more least confident ones. Actually, it's probably if I had to rank them 1 through 6 confidence wise, this would be my least confident, but I still like it.
Are you going to insure these, or are you going to go standard and just go
Trent,
straight
I'm not
up?
insuring
No,
anything.
we don't insure crud here, Trent. This is not an insurance pod.
Just a question.
No.
Trent,
I
we are
was trying
gamblers.
I was trying to get a State Farm promo there, but you guys didn't want to do that. So
State Farm.
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I would say, shoot, I'll insure it. I will insure every play from here on out. You know, we have a State Farm sponsor.
No. Fiesta Insurance. No. So. No, I don't dislike that, Jordan. They say he looks really good. I'm getting really confident about Kenny Pickett. Like, I've been tempted to like draft Kenny Pickett in drafts. I just can't do that to myself, with only taking one quarterback.
There's just no point.
Yeah.
He's more of a best ball guy if you really want to have like some action with him.
I feel like if you really want him, you could probably waiver wire him after week 1 or something. Like if he's looking,
he's a great guy. Like if you drafted like Mahomes, or like you're in a big like in a 12-teamer, and you're just kind of like, okay, I don't have to worry about till the bye week. I might just draft like Pickett, or I might take Pickett that week.
I have one that I really like here, and it might not surprise any of you, but Mark Andrews for 100-yard receiving games, the line's at 3. He did not hit that last year, I don't believe, but 2 years ago he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 100-plus yard receiving games. I think with Lamar Jackson there, I know they have more weapons, it seems like. But with Lamar Jackson, I think Mark Andrews easily goes over 3 100-yard receiving games.
I think that's fair. I mean, he's the number 1 receiver on that team.
Yeah, unless you want to look at something like there's other things that you can play Lamar or you can play Mark Andrews on.
Yeah, I don't hate it, Trent. It's just you
6.5 touchdowns. I don't know if you'd rather do that, or he has 825 receiving yards.
kind of like the receiving one. What did he do last year receiving wise?
He had an off season last year because he kind of got hurt at the end of the year and was banged up. But
you're just a big you're
always like Mark
betting,
Andrews,
but you're
yeah.
betting big on the Ravens. You have Lamar as like your top 3 quarterback this year. You want, and honestly, Trent, he had 847 last year
yeah, without Lamar
in
so,
15 games.
So maybe the receiving yards is better than the 100 yards. But honestly, if you think he's going to get that receiving yards, he's probably going to get the 100 yards.
Not necessarily, because honestly, Trent, you can hit that mark and never have 100 yards in a game.
It's true.
Because you only have to average.
Because he could get 80 yards in 10 games.
Yeah.
Pretty much. 80-something yards in 10 games.
17, 825 divided by. He has to average 50 yards a game, Trent.
That's not.
He
that
could
bad.
literally get 55, 60 yards. He could never get more than 70 yards receiving and hit that.
Yeah, and like 2 years ago, was he wide receiver tight end number 1? I think it was 2 years ago he was tight end number 1.
Yeah, in 2021, he had 1,300 yards, over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns.
And
And
he-
107
Man,
receptions.
the three touchdown one is good though, Trent, because the last time he had that much was his rookie year.
Yeah, so I
10-7, 9-5. I think I actually am with you on that.
he
I
could
like
get
that
hurt
one.
and maybe get that in one game.
Yeah, I do kind of like it, Trent.
So that's probably my favorite one is the Mark Andrews. Oh no, his receiving
Oh,
TDs is 6.5.
Oh,
not
sorry.
The
sorry.
100-yard
The 100
game,
yards.
yeah.
No,
3.5 would be a smash.
Sorry.
3.5 would be
Sorry,
a
I
smash.
was confused.
I'd take a mortgage for that.
I would deposit a lot of money. To put that on. No, I think my favorite's the 825.
Okay.
Seth, you have one?
Yeah, so I'm going to go. This is just me being a Seahawks fan here. I'm going Geno Smith, and I'm going to go his over on the 100-yard pass game or 300-yard pass games. So last year, he had 4, okay, and for what it's worth, he threw 4,800 yards. This year, underdog's saying the line is at 3,900 passing yards, and they still have the line at 3.5. I think he's going to throw more than 3,900 yards, and I think he's probably going to have around, I guess, 5 or 6 300-yard pass games. So I'm going to go there. Maybe the safer line is 3,900 yards, but I think there are going to be some games where the Seahawks are going to be forced to throw the ball a ton, and I think those are going to be the 300-yard games, whereas the games where the Seahawks are leading, they're going to lean more on the run, and Geno probably will finish 200, 250 yards. So I think I like the 300 or 3.5 300-yard games. Because I think there are going to be games where they're going to have to throw the ball a ton.
So, yeah, I don't I don't know to counter against that. I think I don't dislike it. I still am having trouble trusting Geno Smith in the back of my mind just because of his past. But you're right. I think Pete Carroll trusts him. I'm not touching any. I'm tempted to do unders on Seahawks running back props if they have any of those. But yeah, Geno Smith, I really feel indifferent on that, Seth. But I know that your Sundays will be a lot more fun cheering for that if you do that.
Yeah, I won't want him to run the ball at all.
What are you on Geno, Jordan? You're just
It's just hard for me.
You in the boat with me where you just don't know?
It's not something that I would really I don't know. I don't think I'd want to put money on Geno.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it. I just don't know. Geno's one, in general, I kind of like Geno this year, but I like.
That's fine. You guys can count him out again.
No, I'm not counting him out.
He won't write back. He won't write back,
He won't
Jordan.
write back.
I don't know. I don't know.
He won't write back. He'll just throw the
Phil,
300-yard
yeah,
games
Phil
on the
finally
board.
just texted our group text. He said, make sure we cover Russell Wilson props. I don't know why he said that, but he said that. And whatever, Phil, we are not going to be worrying about Russell Wilson props. What about Dak Prescott interception prop? I believe it's at 12.5. You think he goes over that again? Is that just too wild to do something like that?
I just don't know.
I'll be mad if he throws over.
It's hard to
10
project
again.
interceptions.
Exactly.
How do I? I have one more receiver play, Trent.
Okay, what do you got?
You can probably guess.
You got
Ridley.
Let's go.
Ridley over 900 receiving yards.
Guys, if we're a Ridley pod, we have to do a season long.
I just don't see. He had his last full year playing, he had 13, almost 1,400 yards receiving. His first 2 years, he was at 821, 866. Honestly, I think he's going to play with the best quarterback. Matt Ryan, he was tail end of Matt Ryan, right? 18, 19, 20, 20. Tail end of Matt Ryan. I think he's the best quarterback he's ever played with. Probably one of the better offensive coaches he's played with. 4-4. And he's the number one there. It's another one where I just think he gets 1,000 yards receiving this year, barring some type of crazy thing happening. So, yeah, that's the one. I just like that one.
What about Jared Goff over 300 plus passing games? It's at 4.5. He had 5 last year. You think he can get?
Honestly,
over 4.5?
I hate that
You hate
because
it?
if he only got 5 last year, and we all think the Lions are going to be a little bit better this year,
Yeah.
that scares me.
Okay. Let me count again just to make double check. But yeah, his first one was in week 4 versus Seattle. So he had
How many passing yards do you have?
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he only had 5 last year. Passing yards. Is there a way does Sleeper tell you at the bottom the yards total?
You just need to go to Pro
Okay.
Football
You gotta scroll
Reference.
down.
Yeah.
Who are you looking at? Goff.
I don't want to really touch Stafford on any plays.
What are you looking for?
He had 44-38 last year.
44-38. His
I don't mind that, Trent. Honestly, that would probably be my favorite Goff thing.
4,500 is his line on the season.
That's probably my favorite Goff prop.
The 300 plus?
No, the
The
4,000.
4,000. Yeah. Okay. DeAndre Swift, 4.5 rushing touchdowns. Just bring it up. We've had some.
I'm just not touching.
What about
Sweat.
Najee Harris, 7 rushing touchdowns? Would you take the under at the moment? There's a lot of Jalen Warren smoke coming out
But
of
I've
there
also
right now.
seen too that they're like, I've seen people are shooting down the Warren thing too.
Are they shooting it down?
I've been seeing that more lately.
Okay.
I mean, the preseason snaps and carries and all that doesn't really back up shooting it down, but
Yeah.
I like to see some of those people shooting it down. Just what they're saying exactly.
What about Tony Pollard, 2.5 receiving touchdowns?
It's hard, like running backs receiving
yeah.
touchdowns. Like it's just hard to project that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I can't.
the CMC one might be safe. Let's see. The Christian McCaffrey's at 4.5.
Is there a total touchdown prop on McCaffrey?
I think they're staying away for total touchdowns for running backs because it's like
Yeah.
you said, it's hard to predict.
Yeah. Bijan Robinson, over 4.5 100-yard rushing games. I kind of like that.
That's I'll leave that one to you, Trent. It's just hard. Like I don't.
What about this one's interesting is we all know McCaffrey is like he gets total yards. He doesn't do like just one or the other. You know, he goes for the total yards. 2.5, 100 plus for McCaffrey.
Rushing
like,
yard games.
Yeah, like 2.5. That's not a lot.
He should.
But it's 100. It's rush yard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's rush, and we also have Mitchell. They're not going to play him as much. Is what that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, if someone said that, I'm not gonna like be. It's like the Jefferson like. It's hard for me to be like, nope, you shouldn't. Christian McCaffrey's not getting 300-yard games this year. Like,
But what about this one? This one's interesting. Christian Watson.
I looked at the
825.
He had 3 100-plus rushing yard games last year. Christian McCaffrey did.
3
Yeah. So.
in a good year, in a really good year for him, right?
Yeah,
The Christian Watson 825.
yeah.
I
mean,
honestly was kind of looking at his touchdown prop, but
at 5.
yeah,
I don't know if he's going to be the
That's
touchdown
receiving, though.
machine though. Without Roger, I just don't know enough about Jordan Love right now.
I kind of think Jordan Love's going to be good.
That's
I
what
kind of think he's going to
how I'm
be
leaning
at least
the
like
end.
serviceable, like
Yeah.
competent. Like I kind of like Watson. Like actually, what is the Dubs? They don't have a touchdown prop on Dubs.
Samaje Perine has a pretty high line, Jordan, for a backup. 575 rushing yards.
It's a really high line.
So that makes me think that they think he's going to play a lot.
There's no Javonte Williams props up on here.
Yeah. That could be a sneaky one right there. Because if he plays the whole season, he should get that.
If you made me bet that, I bet the under. If you told me I had to bet one side of that trend, I bet the under.
And I know you're not a Deshaun Watson guy, but Mari Cooper is trying to be the first Browns receiver ever. They've been a franchise for a long time to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. They've never had that. So they said that's a big goal of his. He's at 950.5 receiving yards on the season. What else? I'm not seeing a ton. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could do here. Stephon Diggs, 8.5 receiving touchdowns. I'm wondering how much all that offseason drama was drama, how much is real. Like, maybe greasy wheel gets the grease, or squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know? I don't know. George Kittle, 100-plus receiving yard games. It's at 2.
You couldn't pay me to bet
couldn't
on
do
Brock
that one?
Purdy. Trent, you're betting on Brock Purdy.
I know, but it's Kittle. Like, look at his, like, I'm sure he had that last year and he missed all those games too, right?
What?
Kittle can get a 100-yard game by catching, a screen pass.
I think he did not have as many as you think he did.
100-plus last year. Maybe it was just touchdowns. He did not start strong. Like, I was in a league, he got dropped. It was unbelievable. Like,
Kittle last year had 1.
he only had 1. Wow. And he finished as tight end 3. You don't want to do anything, Darren Waller.
It's his touchdowns.
Trent, it's hard for tight ends to get 100 yards in a game.
It's
Like,
their
Yeah.
touchdowns. He had in the last 4 weeks. He had 2, 2, 1, 2.
he only had 2 in 21. What's his best fantasy year? I mean, it might have been last year. What's his most? Can you tell me any?
His best fantasy year. He finished tight end 2, 2019. He had 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns.
He only had 2 in.
That was 2018, 214 points, 88 yards or 88 receptions, 1,400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
He had 3 in 2019. What do you need him to get, Trent? 2 or 3?
Oh, he needed to get 2. It was right
In
at 2.
2018, he
That was
had
his best, most yards.
he had
per year.
4.
I think you stay away. From
I think
that
it's a bad. Yeah.
Chris Olave, 5.5 receiving touchdowns on the season.
I don't hate that. How many did he have last year?
Let me pull it up right here. Last season, he had 1, 2, 3. He had 4 last year.
Ooh,
It's similar as the Pickens thing. You just betting on a little bit of a jump.
hold on. This one is actually really intriguing. Both of these ones, Daniel Jones, 1.5 300 pass yard games, or a half game
Oh my gosh.
over 100 plus rush yards. Like
It's
the
just a lot for a quarterback in the NFL.
100 plus rush yards. Like you don't at a 17 games, you don't think he'll get 100 plus rush yards?
He had 1 last year, and then he had a 91 rushing yard game.
That's what
Let
I'm
me
saying.
look at
like
his
the-
career. I want to see in his career how many he has.
Last year versus Jacksonville, he had a 200-yard passing game and a 107-yard rushing game with a throwing TD and a rushing TD.
Okay.
I mean,
Let's see.
the 300. What 300 pass yards? What's that one? I mean, that's 1.5. And if we're talking about his receiving core is going to be
He only threw over 300
Seth,
yards twice
Seth,
last year.
That's his only 100-yard rushing game
okay.
in his whole
That's
career.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, it just seems so low though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then you said, what was the other one you said?
The 300 pass yard. I think Trent said he did it once last
He
year.
did it twice last year. He did it once the year before. Man, I think he's only done it like
Yeah. So I mean,
he's only done it like 5 times in his career.
Yeah. So I think they're playing on the fact that people think that their receiving core. They're
Honestly, Seth, if you made me, I bet the under on the 100-yard rush games.
okay.
That'd be terrible to watch him, though.
Oh,
like,
I
just
know,
running
but
everywhere,
like-
that'd be so bad.
But like if he's done one time in his career,
yeah,
and I think that one last year was he broke off that like 70-yard run.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that
it
kind
stink to see though.
of, yeah. I think that kind of does it.
Should we let's put
let's put one in.
a 6-1 or a 5-1? I think the most is 5.
We'll
What's
do a
the
5.
I think it's
what's
6.
the one? I think it's 5. 1,
Yeah,
2,
you're right.
3.
It is 5. It is 5.
What's the most confident one we talked about?
I like Andrews receiving, and I like Justin Jefferson. Those are my 2.
I like the
favorite.
Jefferson for sure. I like the
I like Pickens too. Right now, what I have George Pickens over 4.5 receiving touchdowns. I have Justin Herbert 30.5 passing touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes over 300-yard games. Mark Andrews 825 receiving yards, and then Justin Jefferson 6.5 over 100+ yards receiving. What would you have in there instead of Mark Andrews?
I think the Mahomes 300.
he has that one, right?
Yeah, I have that
You
one
have that
too.
one.
Well, we did talk about Ridley. We might just have to do the Ridley one.
The Ridley's 900.
Yeah.
Over.
I might kick.
I'm interested in about taking out George Pickens and maybe doing Herbert. But I mean, we
I
can all
might
be-
take out Pickens.
He has the Herbert one in there.
I know I don't
Yeah.
have the same one as Trent though.
I might take out Pickens and put.
I
in
don't think
Ridley.
Trent has Chubb in his.
I'm gonna take out Pickens and do the Chubb, Trent. So what I'm gonna do, I think we're gonna all have similar ones. I have Justin Jefferson 6.5, 100+ receiving yard games. Herbert 30.5 passing touchdowns. Mahomes 7.5 300-yard games. Ridley 900.5 receiving yards, and Chubb 9 rushing touchdowns. Is that what you have, Seth, or you have something a little different?
I had Chubb and I had Pickens. I'm gonna put in Herbert. I'm gonna go with the same as you. 30.5.
I know you're an Andrews boy, Trent. So if you want to do Andrews over Chubb, I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
I actually need to hit the deposit button if I'm going to put this in. But
All right,
Trent.
I'm in.
Trent's gonna use insurance here.
Yeah, I know I'm standard, baby.
Let's go.
standard.
Grandma needs a new pair of shoes.
All right.
I submitted it, baby. Let's go.
Alrighty. Probably gonna regret I didn't bet a lot more money on this, guys. Any divas you guys got for the week? Anything you want to share here? We gotta wrap this up. My wife has to leave. I gotta babysit the kids. She said when she has to leave, she's just gonna throw the girls in here, then leave. So I really don't think that's a good idea to be recording with them in here.
I mean, that's up to you, Trent.
Probably not my worst idea.
Going to
I'm in, by the way. Just got the deposit button hit.
There we go.
I got my
His account has been overdrawn.
He got a
Trent,
ding,
that's what credit cards are for,
he got
buddy.
a ding on his phone from his bank.
Yeah.
I would say my diva is I haven't been to a live sporting event, like a professional live sporting event, in a while.
Yeah.
And I just forget about how obnoxious some fans are.
I had the same thing when I went. They know more than the coach.
Like,
baseball might be the worst.
Baseball might be the worst because really, baseball is a little more complex, I think, than other sports to understand. Like, maybe everyone would say that about every sport that they're really into. But, this guy a couple, rows behind me, first of all, he might be intoxicated. But second of all, he's just being super obnoxious. I'm like when Ronald Acuna hits the home run, and he's Acuna he's a flashy player. He likes to do the bat flip and do different things.
The old school guys hate that.
He's not even old school, Trent. This guy's probably close to our age, and this guy is just he's you're a disgrace to the sport. And I'm like, dude, 90% of the players who hit a home run do some sort of celebration. I'm I don't think
I'm pretty sure Mookie is not the most respectful guy when he hits a home run.
Yeah, no, I don't think Mookie is definitely not as flashy as them. Freddie Freeman definitely doesn't do that much either when he hits a home run. But I don't think
the Dodgers used to have the most flashiest player in the league.
Puig.
That's what I'm saying.
Puig.
I don't think this. I'm some people. I'm just or I hate when people say I'm in the third deck here. Really good seats, third deck.
Your nose
and
is
this
bleeding.
this guy's complaining come on, pay attention. I'm dude, what are you talking about? We can't see balls and strikes from
No,
here.
you can't.
I'm just be quiet, dude. I'm right in my ear, man.
The funniest thing
that's what you get for going with your brother, Seth.
The funniest thing about baseball games to me is the fly balls when they think that every single one is a home run.
Yeah.
Well, it's the best because what the best was the Dodgers had the bases loaded and people really aren't paying attention. This guy hits a weak ground ball. It's actually Mookie base load hits a weak ground ball, and everyone thinks the ground ball went fair, but the umpire clearly made the foul sign, and the guy at third runs home and tags the plate, and everyone's going nuts he scored. And I'm like, guys, he didn't score. No one noticed for a good solid 30 seconds, and it was painful. And the people in front of me wait, he didn't score, and I'm like, no.
What do you have here, Jordan? We're watching a Mountain West game right now. We got San Jose and Oregon State. That's the new Mountain West, I guess.
Shoot, they might be part of the Mountain West.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I don't really have anything on top of my head. I think Seth's a good one, man. I've you start going to more football games, high school football games.
That's a little more acceptable.
It's just people's fans who just don't know what they're doing. The amount of people who go to sporting events and don't understand at a high level is honestly mind blowing.
Or what about the people who cheer when their kid made a tackle, 100 yards down the field?
Yeah, that's a funny one too.
Yeah.
Hey, you they ran the ball 30 yards and you made a tackle. Yeah. Why are we cheering?
Or my favorite one is this happened last game. And I'm not going to say the name because I don't want people to hear to get offended. But it's their son made the tackle and he's a defensive lineman. And it was 15 yards down the field, and it's because he got drove back like a bulldozer. And he made the tackle. But he got drove back 15 yards before he made the tackle, So I mean, that's just people, happy for their kid. But I'm like, did you watch the play?
Yeah. So all right, I think that kind of does it, guys. We'll see you again on Thursday. Be ready, set your alarms for the live
just
stream.
Reminder, live stream.
Live stream.
So Thursday, that Wednesday episode will come out, and then also Thursday evening we're gonna have a live.
Thursday evening we're having the live stream, watching the Chiefs and the Lions.
Phil will probably be painted like a Smurf,
and I already know I'm gonna be on Chiefs -6.5, so it will be
that'll be a good one. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. It's football season. It's finally here. We will see you guys next time, and as always, take care.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.